Hello and welcome back to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg. I am here with my buddy Guinness, who is very sleepy today and hanging out with me to do my August reading wrap up. I know we're already, it is September 2nd as I record this, so I'm a little bit late, but I really just wanted to make sure I got this in the time that I could do it. So we're still close enough. It'll be fine. And I'm also going to talk about what I am going to be reading in September, in as much as I know what I will be reading in September. So we'll get to that a little bit at the end of the video. Now, I've already talked about all of the books that I've read in Friday Reads videos, so I won't spend a whole lot of time talking about them if you are someone who has already watched the Friday Reads videos. But let's run through one by one the books that I read in the month of August. The first one that I finished was Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is volume 1. I had ordered this because it was recommended to me by Doris from Aldi Books, and she said it was 100% pure cinnamon bun magic. And it is. It's a really cute story. I didn't realize that it was going to end pretty abruptly because I always like to test a book in a series before buying all of them. And it ends really abruptly. Apparently, you're just supposed to go right into the others. And I don't know that I want to buy all 5 volumes, so I may look into the library and see if they're available then. Because it's cute, I would continue in the series, but I don't know that I want to buy all of the books in the series. So I'm in no rush to figure that out, so we'll see what happens with it. But it's a cute book. If you're unfamiliar, it's about 2 boys in high school, and they meet. One of them is gay, this one here, and he is sort of struggling because he has previously been bullied for being gay after he was outed at his high school, and he is also having a sort of down-low relationship with somebody else at the school, and he meets this boy who's really nice but straight, and he starts to fall for him really quickly, and there's a sort of will they, won't they, because we can see from his point of view that he is sort of questioning things about himself as he gets to know his friend, and they forge a real bond and get to know each other. And it's a very cute book. Like I said, I would be interested in seeing how the rest of the series plays out. I just don't feel like I'm in any kind of a rush to do that. So that's Heartstopper, Volume 1 by Alice Oseman. The next book that I finished in the month of August was also something that I did on break while reading Gone with the Wind. I just sort of needed a little bit of a gap from that. And I will talk about Gone with the Wind a little bit later in the video because it is an ongoing thing. It's not something that I finished. But I did Heartstopper because I needed a bit of a break, and I picked up Like Water for Chocolate because I needed a break, and I figured this was something that I could read quickly, and Heartstopper was certainly something that I could read quickly. The bonus of this one is that after I started it, I realized that it qualifies for Women in Translation Month, which I really wanted to do something in August that would qualify for Women in Translation Month. I had another book that I was thinking I would try to force in at some point in the month. And as soon as I realized that this qualified, I let it be my nod to Women in Translation Month. It's Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. I enjoyed this. It's magical realism. It is structured in the format of a cookbook, which is a really interesting approach to a novel, certainly very unique. And I would recommend it. It also really fit the bill as a distraction from Gone with the Wind, which is exactly what I needed it to be. And there's a reason I didn't finish a lot of print books in the month of August, and that is going to be the Gone with the Wind of it when we get to that. So these, I think, are the only 2 print books that I read. Yeah, they are. That I read and finished in the month of August. Pretty much everything else is in audio. And again, that comes down to the Gone with the Wind of it. I spent a lot of time trying to work on the print version of Gone with the Wind. So the next book that I finished in August was The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. This was a recommendation from Doris from Aldi Books, again, but this was one that I asked her specifically for because I needed to get a science or nature nonfiction book for the reading checklist I'm doing for the Montana Book Company for 2021. And she recommended a bunch of books that all sounded fantastic. And I took the lazy man's approach and just looked to see which, if any, would be immediately available on audio. And The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery was available on script immediately. So I listened to it. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was very interesting. I saw the movie My Octopus Teacher either early this year or late last year. I think it was early this year on Netflix, and really enjoyed that. I didn't know a whole lot about octopuses, so it was a really interesting thing from that perspective. It was also interesting because there are several octopuses that Cy Montgomery meets through the course of her journalistic work on the book and working at the aquarium where she is getting a lot of her information. And because they have such a short lifespan, several of the ones that she gets to know die in the course of her reporting. And it feels emotionally devastating when they die, which I think just goes to show how palpable her enthusiasm for the subject matter is, and the connection that she makes and her ability to share that with the reader. She actually narrates the audio, and she really has this palpable enthusiasm for the topic that comes out. So I would really recommend the audio. But the book itself is so pretty. I picked it up in the store. It has really great pictures. They've done a great job putting it together. It even has a flip book. If you flip the pages on the bottom, there is a flip book. There is a flip book of an octopus moving along the bottom. It's really cool. So I have to leave it to you to decide which edition would be right for you. But I'm really glad I read it. And I don't think I would have picked up a science or nature nonfiction book if I wasn't doing that reading checklist. So I'm glad that I got that in. And it was a great reading experience. I think it will probably be in my top 20 favorite reads of 2021. So we'll see what happens at the end of the year. The next book that I finished will absolutely not be in my favorite reads of 2021. It's The Wonder Boy of Whistle-Stop by Fannie Flagg. Now, I did a rant about this book in my last Friday Reads video, which I will link down below. And I really liked the first half. The first half is very charming. It's a sequel to the fried green tomatoes at the Whistle-Stop Cafe by Fannie Flagg, which I absolutely love, both the book and the movie. Fantastic book if you have not read it. The first half of this book seems like it's going to be in the same vein and doing a lot of the same things. However, it takes a departure in the second half, and I ended up really not liking the direction that the book went in the second half. It becomes a sort of fan service experiment where the town of Whistle-Stop has already started to decay and die at the end of Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle-Stop Cafe. This book sort of moves into the present day, and Whistle-Stop doesn't exist anymore. But they rebuild Whistle-Stop, and all the people who are still alive, and even their children and their children's children, come back. And it's just wild. It doesn't make sense. It ends up feeling really cheesy, emotionally cloying and manipulative, and I didn't like that. So this is actually a big contender for one of my worst reads of 2021. And again, we'll see how things shape out at the end of the year. But let's get to something I was much more excited about. I listened to this on audio, but I have a physical copy of the book. It's Like a Love Story by Abdi and Nazemian, and I did a rave of this in my last Friday Reads video. So again, I will link that last Friday Reads video down below because it in particular covers a lot of the conversation that I would otherwise have. And in that rave, I talked about how much I identify with one of the characters and how it feels like it is telling a piece of my story in this book, even though it's not doing it directly. And for all of those reasons, I love this book. It is absolutely going to be one of my favorite reads of 2021. I put it on the list. I have a running list so I can keep track of all these books. The first year I was on BookTube, I didn't keep a running list of my favorite reads of the year. And at the end of the year, I was going through and piecing together everything I had read and what I had liked, and it was really annoying. So I keep a running list now. And I did put it in the ranking. So right now it's top 5. It's even top 3, but I am very attached to this book right now because I just finished it. So we're going to have to see where it ends up. And I'm thinking about my top 5 a lot this week because I've read some really great books, and a lot of the books that are in my top 5 right now, I have this really great personal connection to. And that makes it really difficult to decide which one I like the best and makes it difficult to rank them, basically. They're so different in a lot of ways. So I'm glad I don't have to make any hard and fast decisions about that right now. But I would say I absolutely recommend this book. It is a Stonewall Honor book, and I've had really good luck with Stonewall Honor books. So if you are somebody who likes to read some of the things that I do, that might be a good award to follow, because when I see this logo on a book, it makes me immediately feel like that's probably something I'm going to like. So maybe if you feel the same way, that would be a good logo for you to look for as well. And thank you to the good crew at the Montana Book Company. Chelsea recommended this to me, and I remembered. So the reason we ended up talking about The Great Believers, which led to discussion of this book, was that I had seen a post that Chelsea put up on her Instagram talking about a book called After Francesca, which I really need to read. And it is about AIDS. So we ended up talking about The Great Believers, and then we ended up talking about Like a Love Story. So I finally remembered the progression of things that led to that. So I only finished one other book in the month of August, and it was Better Not Pout by Annabeth Albert, which is, it's a little silly, but I needed a little bit of levity because Like a Love Story was a little bit heavy. The news has been a little bit heavy and things like that. And I had that frustrating experience. But the more I thought about The Wonder Boy Was to Stop, the more I just didn't like it. And I've been really irritated by Gone with the Wind in general. So I wanted a gimme, something I could get through quickly, easily, and might be a little bit charming. And this just did the job for that. It was everything I needed it to be. It's strictly okay. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's fine. It is what it is. And that was the last book that I finished in the month of August. I did finish a book yesterday on September 1st, but obviously that doesn't count for our purposes here. And that was also on audio. So you can see I finished 6 books in the month of August, and only 2 of them were in print. And again, that's because I spent a lot of time working on Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, and then I took an extended break later on in the month because it was driving me a little bit nuts. Actually, I just this morning watched a video from Brian at Bookish where he talks about dead racist authors. I will link that video down below as well. It's really interesting. And he mentions in the description of that video that he remembers a raid scene, like a KKK raid, and he looked at it to see if some of the main protagonists in the book were part of the KKK, and they were. And that really has me questioning whether or not I even want to continue with this book. I'm halfway through. It's 1,039 pages, and I am on page 566. And a lot of people have commented and said, just give up. I was thinking I might just seek this out on audio to power through because I feel like I do want to finish, but I'm having a hard time. And you can see my reading in August suffered because I was trying to make this work and really struggling with it. So I don't know, to be determined, because I have 2 other print books that I am working on right now that are definitely not Gone with the Wind. So I've yet to make a hard decision or make a determination about whether or not I'm going to continue with this or just stop at this point. I'm going to see what these other 2 print books that I'm reading, what they do for me, where they take me, and where I am at mentally once I get through them. So Gone with the Wind is still in progress for now, to be determined if it actually stays that way. So what else am I working on now? Well, I started a buddy read of Love Medicine with Britta Bowler, and we are going to be continuing to work on that in the month of September. So this is still ongoing, and we are still going to finish this. Really enjoying it so far, and look forward to talking more about it as I get further along in it. As of yesterday, I am also starting a buddy read with Erica from The Broken Spine of the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I'm really excited to get to this. I had a sort of failed attempt to read this last year when I was really trying to cram a bunch of titles in for my Read Outside Your Comfort Zone challenge. And then I decided to bail on the Read Outside Your Comfort Zone challenge because I had this multi-pronged approach that ended up being, there were too many prongs. So I had to just let it go. But I really did want to read this, and Erica is curious about doing a reread. So we decided we would do it this year, and the time has come. So I will be doing, I believe she's doing it for a Sci-Fi September. So let's just say that I'm doing the same. And I don't usually read a lot of sci-fi. I have gotten a couple of sci-fi fantasy titles in, maybe 2 this year so far. So I'm glad I will be getting another one in, because I like to sort of challenge myself to read things I don't usually read. So far, my September reading plans have both of these for sure. Gone with the Wind is sort of a question mark. And in terms of audio, so the book I finished yesterday was an audio, so I don't have an audio in progress right now. I do have a lot of ideas for what my next audio could be, but I haven't decided yet. So I don't really know what it's going to be. And I could talk through the possibilities, but the likelihood that I will get to all of them is really slim. So it probably wouldn't even make sense to do that. But there will be audios coming up that I will be getting to. And I will be talking about the one that I finished in my Friday Reads video, which I will record tomorrow and post on Saturday. So that's what I read in August. Like I said, it wasn't a great reading month because Gone with the Wind just had me stressed out. And the quality was a little uneven, but I really loved Like a Love Story by Abdi Nazemian, and I really did enjoy The Soul of an Octopus by Montgomery as well. I'd love to hear what you read in August and what your plans for September are. I'm trying to keep it a little bit light, especially since with 2 buddy reads going on at the same time, I am doing exactly what I didn't want to do this year, which is read more than 1 book at a time. My goal was to have 1 print book and 1 audio book going at the same time, and I'm breaking that. Gone with the Wind kind of broke that already because I took breaks from it to read other books. And so I was already off course, and now I'm just continuing to be off course. So I would like to get back to that by the end of September, but we'll see how everything goes. And if, for a little while, I'm okay breaking the rule and doing more than 1 print book at a time, but I don't want it to be a sustained thing that ends up happening. So I would love to hear what you read in August, what you have planned for September, anything like that, what you've loved, what you've hated. If you have thoughts about anything that I read, let me know in the comment section down below. As always, I really appreciate your time. I am raring to go for September and eager to get some good reading done. So let's go do that. As always, I'll be back. Until next time, happy reading.